podcast. This is episode 90. Lot of episodes. And today we're going back to a little back to basics. We're going back to just a plain old audio episode, this one. I've got my uncle Johnerik on. I can't remember if you've ever been on one before. I think you might have, but it was a while ago.
I was on the one where the Random Banter and the Half Full podcast came together.
Oh, yeah.
And we were down in the studio in David's basement.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a... I remember there was a bit of a collab. That might have been on the Thanksgiving.
I think it was.
I really don't know. But, yeah, so as you know, and as other people might not know, every 10 episodes on this show, I do something called a Oops All Blank, where we just talk about one specific topic. And today, since Johnerik was the one who introduced me to this, I wanted to talk about Oops All D&D, Dungeons & Dragons. Because, Johnerik, I know you said you just recently finished a 3-year campaign.
That's right.
So, well, first off, like, how did it get to be 3 years long?
Well, some old friends of mine from high school that we used to play D&D back in the day, which is about 40-some years ago. During COVID, he's like, hey, I'd like to play with people, so they started playing online. And then when COVID ended, he's like, well, why don't we just all get together? Mm-hmm. So we would rotate houses and get together about every 2 or 3 months for a weekend. And he played a 2nd edition adventure.
Oh, that's cool.
And then my other buddy started a 5th edition. So now I'm in 2 5th edition adventures. Mm. But the second one that we finished, my buddy Mike ran it. He already had a module that he modified. Yeah. And we just played. It's just so much fun to get together with people and just, for me, it's like I get to be somebody else.
Yeah, I know. I love the fact that, like, I mean, specifically with D&D, you can literally play, like, we could play it right now with just these, we're sitting at a kitchen table with, like, these glasses and plates that are on here. And I just think it's so cool. Oh, hold on. Max is coming. Johnerik's dog Max is coming up here. Max, you want to say something into the camera or into the microphone?
He'll probably try to eat it.
Max, you want to say something? Okay, he didn't say anything. But yeah, I mean, because you taught us, me and my brothers D&D. Oh my God, when was that? Was that like 10 years ago?
Just about.
Whew. Yeah, it was at the dining room table at my grandparents' house, and I don't know. I think it's cool, but, like, I mean, you've been playing D&D for a long time.
Over 40, about 46 years.
Yeah, how's it? I mean, have you seen it, like, change over the years?
Well, when we started, there were no. I mean, when you started the game in those days, you had a piece of graph paper to map. Yeah. You had one set of dice. You had the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Player's Guide, and the Monster Manual. Mm-hmm. And the rest of it was your imagination.
That's cool.
I mean, you could use, like, dominoes to outline a room, but it was the description that the DM would give you as to describing the room. Mm-hmm. And then it was the interactions of the players who, played their roles, but also the party had goals to achieve and things like that. Yeah. So all of it was pretty much in your head, and you had to think through things. And, the DM would set out parameters, but he certainly couldn't figure out all the things that were going to happen.
Yeah, everything that was happening.
So you're never going to play the same thing twice.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's really cool how, like, versatile it is too. With, like, because again, I just had a guy on the show, our Alex Murray, he plays D&D in front of thousands of people at, like, a show. Wow. And I think it's so cool that it's like it can be something that you can play with your friends, but it's also something that can be, like, marketed and like shown for like campaigns and all that.
Well, that's the biggest difference that I see now is the popularity.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially with, like, Stranger Things.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that boosted the popularity of D&D tenfold.
Well,
because there was
Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. I mean, they've all contributed to this.
Did you play D&D during the whole, like, devil scare thing?
Oh yeah. I don't think I've ever really stopped playing. Okay. I mean, there was times in my life I didn't have a group to play with all the time, but and it also depends on who you're playing with. Yeah. Because playing with old friends versus new friends versus just people you might meet at a shop.
Right.
sit down and play.
Do you know if it started as like as like a game? Because I know it's owned by Wizards of the Coast now.
Right.
But did it start as like a game or like an idea that people came up with that just kind of spread around?
There were two guys, Gary Gygax being one, in the 70s. They based a lot on Lord of the Rings. So they wanted to take that idea and turn it into a game. So just like, anything else, you have an idea, but how do you make it reality?
Yeah.
So they sat down and published the first edition, which was in a box.
Yeah.
And there were 3 small pamphlets that had Dungeon Master's Guide, Player's Guide, Monster Manual.
Just very tiny.
It included a pencil and 1 set of dice, and the rest of it you had to make up.
That's cool. Yeah, because I do like how much lore there is now for everything, with like this whole universe, like the Forgotten Realms and everything. And all these like monster manuals and books and campaigns and everything. And I think that's really cool. But there's just something to be said about doing it solely based off of your imagination, which is how we did it when you first ran the game for us, which I really liked. And I've played like a couple campaigns now where it's like very like set in stone, and I'm like, I think that's cool as well. But like, I don't know what characters do you typically like to play? Because I typically go to wizards, like a lot of like mages, and sometimes I do like a rogue or two. But I'm typically more like arcane sort of centered things because I really don't enjoy like hand-to-hand combat that much. But yeah, I was like, what stuff?
Well, I usually play a wizard most of the time, but my favorite character was a barbarian.
Oh,
his name was Og.
Nice.
And he would speak in simple 1 or 2 word, me Og.
Oh, that's
me
cool.
Go fight.
Yeah.
What me do? And it was so much fun because you get to play a role that I would never get to play before. I've played wizards, I've played clerics and illusionists and all that kind of, and paladins. That's one of my other favorite things to do. But for me, it depends on the campaign.
Yeah.
What does the party need?
Yeah.
That's the first thing people need to figure out is what's the goal you're trying to do, and then you need to know how many characters with certain abilities you're going to put together.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I really like that it's like you can do it with however many people that you want, and you again use just whatever.
Yeah.
I just again the versatility of it is really, really fun. I remember there was this Dungeons and Dragons campaign that I saw on Spotify that was it was called Dungeons and Daddies. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of that, actually.
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of like middle-aged dads who are in who like play Dungeons and Dragons. Like the dads are the characters, and
right.
I think that's really funny. There was a campaign that I played, and I think Ben's playing a campaign right now, where I played as a fish in a fish bowl. It was like a whole bunch of animals, and like the fish would like roll around in the bowl. It's just, I don't know, the whole creative aspect of it is really, really cool, and I love how much people like flesh out their worlds and everything like that. Like whenever someone has a whole like world and everything, it's really, really cool. Like I know you're a really good friend of yours made
a world.
He made like a vast world.
Yeah.
In D&D with like I've seen like the maps and everything like that. And did he do like languages too?
He didn't do languages, but he created religions. He created different, the history of the world and the different factions. And I mean, we played it almost every weekend for 2 years.
That's cool.
But the other thing about D&D is you can play in the same campaign more than one player.
Yeah.
So, I can play a wizard and a paladin or whatever. So
you can play like 2 different things.
Yeah. And of course, there's going to be other. The dungeon master has to play non-player characters.
Yeah.
So they get to also play a role, and I think so. That is also a cool part of the game is that everybody is playing characters.
Yeah, and I think it's also cool that like it's kind of gotten to the point where it's like it's beginning to span generations of people. Because again, you taught me how to do it, and that's like I wouldn't have learned how to do it from probably until later. And I think it's cool that it's been around to the point where people can teach the younger generation how to play. And I do really like how long the campaign, because I mean technically we still have a campaign from that 10 years ago, but like we haven't played it in like 4 years or something like that.
True.
So I mean technically it's still going, but like I mean not really.
Well, I mean the fun thing about that game was during COVID we'd play on Discord.
Oh yeah.
And so that was a way of, you know, keeping the family together in a sense that we all played together and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and playing over Zoom is really cool too, because it's, I mean, you can play it in your house connected with other people. I've played with people over Discord before. But how long, what was the longest campaign you've ever done? Like, it could still be going on. Like,
yeah, the campaign that I had with my best friend who did his world would be the one that we're still playing in a sense.
Yeah.
He's passed away, so the people that were involved in it, you kind of keep the game going in his memory kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
But that would be the one just because of the complexity and the vastness of the world, because it would take us decades, even playing that much, to go explore that kind of thing. But he was the kind of person that was that detail oriented.
Yeah.
Now, one of the groups that I'm playing with now, the dungeon master has a 3D printer.
Oh, I bet that's cool.
So he creates
like terrain and everything.
No, he actually creates buildings.
Oh, full on buildings.
Full on buildings.
That's awesome.
And
Does he paint them too?
Yes.
That's cool.
And you know, so for him, it's a much more realistic adaptation of what it's like. He creates something so that you can see what you're going into.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. I've seen pictures of there was someone who I asked to come on the show, and I was like emailing back and forth a bit, and they were like a really big D&D creator. It didn't end up working out, but like the things that people create with like, especially like mechanical stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like, I remember there was this table that people had move apart, and like a dragon came up out of the middle.
Oh yeah.
Or there's like smoke I see that people put into things. It's so cool.
Well, for the group I just finished playing with, the second edition, he had a table, like a dining room sized table whiteboard.
Oh my god!
So he would draw
like paths and stuff.
But now I've seen this thing where you basically put a huge monitor under a table, and then you just and then you project. Which I mean, it's amazing with the technology.
Like big TV stuff. And I've seen people. Oh my god! I could be wrong, but I think people did D&D at. It was either a big arena or it was Madison Square Garden. I can't remember if it was specifically Madison Square Garden or not, but I know that there was this big arena that people played D&D in, and I was like, that's just, it's so cool that it's gone from like things that people play together to an arena, and I don't know if you've seen this, but like I know that there were things that people have been saying that like Wizards of the Coast may begin to implement like AI things into Dungeons and Dragons, and like I don't know if I've ever said this on the show or not, but I hate AI. I think I hate generative AI. I think it's dumb, and I think AI in D&D is just not a good idea.
I agree, simply because it takes the creative element out of the. If you want to use it to enhance the game.
Yeah, if there's like effects or something like that. Like if you want to get like a big like fire explosion from when like a dragon blows fire or something like that you want to play on a monitor, that's fine.
Sure.
But like I think with like creating a campaign, it's just it just becomes a role playing game at that point. That with like a set, you don't get to make it up, which is the fun part.
Well, I think in a way it would be kind of fun to have AI create a world
and play it and see how bad it is. But because I remember there was one episode way back when like ChatGPT was first a thing that I did at the podcast. I had Ben on, and we generated a script for it, and it was terrible. It was awful. And yeah, I think probably watching a D&D campaign where it's completely generated would be bad.
Well, the interesting view of like, okay, AI not only creates the world but plays all the characters.
Well, that's just a TV show,
right?
I mean, that is just the most amount of lazy.
Exactly, but that's what I'm afraid people are going to start doing. Is they're going to use AI to create a world, so they don't have to do anything about it and just play it.
Yeah, I feel like you're just really shutting off your brain there.
And that's the thing with I could play with people who are in elementary school.
Yeah.
I mean, and I can play people that are much. There's no age limit, first of all.
No. The
second thing is it teaches, and I think this is important, especially today, for personal interactions.
Yeah.
So you have to learn about being around other people and playing and things like that, which is so important.
And also, if you use, like, I know some people use character voices and, like, talk as their character, it helps with, like people coming out of their shell a little bit, people who wouldn't normally, I mean, me, again, as an actor, as an acting major, I do that all the time. But I know some people, like, might be nervous to do that in front of their friends or other people. And I think that it's cool that it gives them an outlet to do that.
I totally agree, and that's really also important too, because you do get that sense of I'm able just to be me, and play a role that brings part of my personality out. Yeah. And like I said, there's so many positive things about the game. Yeah. And at the same time, it's challenging. Yeah. I mean, it's not easy just to, I'm going to go in and play.
Yeah, and I know that my friend Luke has even talked about like he said that he had a campaign that he was going with his friends, and he was playing a character and his character died. Yeah. And he said that, like, everyone got emotional, like they felt that because they had been so invested in that with that character, and it's like it's dying in like a TV show, and also like kind of like losing a friend in the world. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I've never experienced that, but I bet it's probably hard.
It is, especially when you've been in a campaign for a long time.
Yeah, for so long.
But at the same time, that's realistic. I mean,
True.
if you're encountering a very powerful creature that is, you're not going to have a chance of, unless you all work together. But even so, it's like sacrifices are made. And
things have to be done.
Or you just get really bad die rolls,
which is also the other part. Typically what happens for me. It's I'm not good at rolling dice. I've very much found that out. But yeah, where do you think a positive way for D&D to go would be? Like, from where it is today, like, where do you think it's going to head?
I honestly think, since now a whole new generation has been exposed to the game, they are going to make it their own. Yeah. They're going to take the basics of it, and I think they're going to change where the game goes. Yeah. Simply because it's that adaptable. Yeah. And I think each generation adapts it. Because, I was playing 2nd edition. Mm-hmm. Now people are playing 5th edition. I'm sure there's going to be other editions after that.
Probably, yeah.
So, I mean, the game, by dynamics, are still the same, but there's a lot of extra stuff that goes along with it.
Yeah, and I think that, like, definitely with the company working with the fans is also very good. And I saw that they did recently, this might be going on right now, but there's a sale on, like, some of the Forgotten Realms audiobooks. You can get like $360 worth of audiobooks for like $18. Like, that's cool. I don't know. I just think I think D&D it needs to be a collaborative thing. And if it's not, I feel like that would be the downfall of it from a corporate standpoint, because I feel like it's never really going to go away with, like, people playing it. Right. But, like, from a corporate, like, marketing standpoint to make money off of, I feel like that's where you would start to lose it.
Well, if they're smart, and hopefully they are, they'll take this new interest in the game and use it globally. Yeah. I mean, it's cross-cultural. Yeah. But it's only limited by your imagination. Mm. So each person, each group, each country or whatever can make it their own. Yeah. And also learn how to, meet other people, listen to their stories, and how to, I guess for me it's the basic factor of when we're growing up, we all like to play. Yeah. Play is very important when we're young. And then we grow up and people say, I can't have time to play anymore. Yeah. And I'm like, you always have time to play.
Yeah, and I think I would love to see, I mean, what you said, like, with cultural stuff, I'd love to see, like, D&D worlds set in, like mythological places, whether that be, like, the Greek, the Romans, or, like, even, like Chinese mythology with, like, Sun Wukong. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
That world. Or seeing, like myths and religions that, like, I don't even know much about. Right. It'd be a fun way to learn and, like, teach people stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's really versatile.
And I've been amazed quite honestly.
Yeah.
You know, because starting to play as early as I did,
Yeah.
and the effect on my life, you know, it brought me out of my shell.
Yeah.
And I got to play with really cool people, and now I play with different people I've never played with before.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that I think the one thing it needs to preserve is the human element.
Oh yeah.
In the sense
definitely.
that you can use technology to enhance the game.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be the technology takes over the
Plays
game.
the game, yeah. Because then it just becomes a video game.
Right.
At that point.
And I think you lose something when you give up your creativity
Oh yeah.
to both, you know, think and act.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Johnerik, it's reaching about the 20-minute mark, and it's snowing outside. I might have to get going, so I think we might have to wrap up this episode here.
Well, Ethan, thank you very much for inviting me onto your show.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for doing this.
You're an awesome host.
Oh, thank you.
Despite being my nephew.
Yes, I mean there's a bit of bias. I'm excited. Yeah, episode 91 is going to come out in a week or so. I'll give a little hint who I have. He's a drummer for a band.
Whoa.
Yeah, really cool, really fun episode. But yeah, thanks again for coming on, Johnerik.
Anytime.
Yeah, this has been episode 90 of the Random Banter podcast. I'm your host, Ethan. We had Johnerik on today for Oops, All Dungeons & Dragons. Thank you for listening to this one. Bye.